Hey everybody, welcome to the Ukulele Video Play Along podcast. I have with me right here today, Kris Gilbert. And we haven't even talked very much today. We are at TMEA. Just met. And I want this on video too, because all the questions I have are probably the things that you'd want to ask too. So you are my first guest, both podcast and live. And we were going to do this earlier in the year,
right,
except you flooded your kitchen.
There's been so many issues. Oh, our basement flooded.
Basement flooded.
Yeah,
okay.
and just the weather in upstate New York, it is what it is.
Yeah. So Kris is here presenting at TMEA. She's presenting on ukuleles and popular music and technology. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow, or not tomorrow, today.
Yes.
Because the presentation is tomorrow.
Yes.
And so is mine. I'm teaching on Fourscore tomorrow morning,
right,
and we're both kind of doing it as part of the ties sessions. So we're in the technology room. So we're kind of connected in that, even though not officially. Are you a member of TIES, by the way?
I'm a member of TIME, which is technology.
TIME, yeah, that's what it is.
Technology and music education.
Yeah, I used to be and probably need to renew, but there's not a whole lot of active membership in Minnesota with that group. So a lot of it's out east. So and a lot of the leadership is out east. So some questions for you. So I'll just start off with, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the program that you teach and how you got into making some of these ukulele videos?
Okay. Well, I teach in upstate New York, which is about an hour and a half south of Syracuse. And
Big Orange.
Go Orange. And what had happened was, being a band director, I had never touched a string instrument besides electric bass. And then all of a sudden, when Grace Vanderwall won America's Got Talent, my students were coming to me with all these ukuleles, teach me, and I couldn't help them. I had no idea what was going on because I'd never touched a ukulele before. And then I kind of sat and thought, I'm like, if they're asking me for this, then maybe I should look into this. And I went and I purchased my first ukulele, and I got on YouTube, God bless YouTube, and I started to self-teach myself, and I haven't looked back. And then when I realized that my students were asking for it, I was enjoying it, I knew others would enjoy it as well. I approached my school district about purchasing a class set of ukuleles, and they very willingly straight out bought them. I didn't have to do donors choose. I didn't have to involve my music boosters. They just said, this sounds so different and unique and special, let's do it. Now, mind you, my school district is rural. There's a high poverty rate. There's a high free and reduced lunch rate. And for them to dole out $1,000 for a class set of ukuleles was a pretty big deal. And ever since then, I totally changed my curriculum. I've kind of flipped my classroom in the sense of a traditional middle school general music classroom, and now we're doing ukuleles, we're doing guitar, bass, keys, drums, music technology, composition, all in 10 weeks. Because I see all my students in 10-week blocks, and then I get a new set of students for 10 weeks.
So do you teach just high school, or are you like 5 through 12? Or?
Currently, I am 6 through 8. I do 6th grade band and 7 and 8 general music and modern, 7 and 8 modern band and music technology.
And that's where the ukulele fits in?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. Just some details. What was your first ukulele?
My first ukulele was a Cordova Protege.
Okay, not a bad one.
I have it here with me, but not here today with me. It's at my Airbnb.
And just so you know, the Cordova Protege is like Cordova's entry-level uke.
Yeah.
So, that's my alarm that would tell me that I normally have at the end of a class during a day. So we're good. All right, and then what kind of ukuleles did you buy for your school? What was the request?
After some research, I wanted to find a ukulele that was rugged, that could put up with some kind of handling. And just in my research, I went with a Kohala Tiki Bridge. And the reason why I chose, and they actually don't make them anymore, but what I liked about them is, while they're wood, they also have a coating on them to help protect against the damage that can incur with highly coordinated middle schoolers.
Okay.
And I teach them to hug them as they walk down the hall to the auditorium, but they still swing around, and sometimes accidents happen. But I've only had one fatality, but it still works. So it's otherwise it's held up, and it's been 3 years.
And I'm not sure what that session is over there that you're hearing with the drum beat right now, But I do know that Tracy King, the bulletin board lady, is right over here. We're meeting at the end of a really long hallway.
We're surrounded by amazingness.
Yes, it's kind of good. I feel in awe of these people. But so the Kohala
Kohala, yeah.
is Lanakai's entry-level
Yes.
model, kind of like Kella has McCulloch.
McCulloch, yeah.
And it's kind of the same deal. So, all right, so you've been doing that, and you said you kind of flipped that class around to be more of a performance class, probably, or than a written kind of general music class.
80% hands-on performing.
Okay, which is pretty cool. Which would explain.
And I also want to explain that because not every school district does this, but in my district, everyone takes general music, whether you're in band or a chorus or whatever.
Okay.
So it's not in other districts locally. If you're in band or chorus, we don't have an orchestra, but if you're in band, chorus, or orchestra, then you don't take general music. And in my district, everyone does it no matter what.
Okay.
So we have classes that are merged with both musical students, non-musical students. Students have never touched an instrument. Students haven't touched an instrument in a long time. Students who quit. Like there's a whole gamut of ability and knowledge that come into class.
So how many kids learn ukulele then? Do they all learn ukulele
Yes.
when you do that?
Yep.
How many learn bass?
Everyone.
Everybody learns bass?
Yes.
How do you do that?
Basically, I spend 2 weeks on ukulele
Okay.
to get them going, and then I also have a ukulele club, and they can come to the ukulele club to pursue the ukulele more. And then I ease that into the guitar because I find that the transition from ukulele to guitar is easier than just throwing the guitar in your hands at first.
Oh yeah.
But and then we can transition some of the knowledge from the uke to the guitar and say, oh, this is just a ukulele C, like the easy G chord on guitar. Or the G chord is a D chord on guitar. So that's easily transferable, and it's not as scary for my students when they're given the guitar as well. But we learn several guitar chords. In 7th grade, we learn the easy versions, meaning either 3 or 4 strings.
Okay.
And then I also teach them some like a couple little tab and like Seven Nation Army. They like to do the easy riff on that, and then
is that the dun 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 dun?
Yeah, that's the one.
Making sure.
Yep. And then in 8th grade, so we learn the chords and we play songs that they know, or even songs they don't know, but want to open their minds to different generations of music. And then in 8th grade, we get into the more full version of the chords.
Okay.
But also along the way, as we do guitar, okay, well, here's the bass line. Let's have this half the class play the bass line. Let's have this half the class.
And they're just playing on a regular guitar, an octave up.
They're playing on the guitar, usually on string 6, 5, 4, 3.
Okay, all right.
And then once they feel comfortable enough, then I'll call up students and kind of rotate them through the electrics, while the rest of the class jams on acoustic.
Well, how many instruments do you have in this?
I have 22 acoustics, 15 of which were donated by Little Kids Rock. I have.
Oh, cool. And they're here too, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay,
yep.
All right.
Scott Burstein, 1 p.m., teaching ukulele through popular music education.
Yeah, go see him
and
tomorrow.
and
tonight,
tomorrow.
6:30 tonight, right?
And there's Brian Powell presenting on iconic notation, and then also Scott's presenting teaching guitar through popular music education. Through popular music. Yep. Anyway, I got most of my guitars through Little Kids Rock.
Okay.
They gave me 15 acoustics, 4 of which I chose to be 3/4 size, because I do still have some small people who haven't grown physically grown into their larger selves yet. And then I also received electric bass with a practice amp, 2 electrics with practice amps, 2 keyboards with stands, and a couple of guitar racks, and a drum set as well. And my school has an electric bass that we use in jazz band, but this allows me to have a second bass as well. And then when we do rock band stuff, but I also like to incorporate ukulele into my rock band because I embrace the whole modern band idea that all instruments belong.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I like that embracing too.
Yeah.
By the way. That's good. So how many kids do you see at a time? Because you said they all rotate over a 10-week period. How many kids are in a class?
Per class can have anywhere from 16 to 24.
Oh, so we're still talking a lot of kids.
Yeah.
In that scenario, it's not just a group of 10 or 12 or something.
Well, there's bubbles, and sometimes certain periods tend to be on the smaller side.
Yeah.
But there's bubbles of classes where, right now, our 7th grade is pretty large, and I have 22 as my largest class.
Okay. So, if you haven't seen it, Kris has a different approach to these play-alongs. I think you started off very similar to what the rest of us do. Like, what Dr. Reese started. If I remember, some of your early ones were especially holiday play-alongs. Like Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, where they just follow the chords like we've been making. But since that point, you've moved to kind of a different format. The chords are still there, but they're shown in the context of a time signature, which is a little different approach than the rest of us use. So I wanted you to talk about why you do it that way versus the way that we do it this way. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just a different approach. I'd like you guys to hear why we do that, or why she does that. So
what I've done is,
and I'll put up I'll cut while she's talking. I'll cut to a little example of what that looks like, so you can see. Right. So just
cool.
In fact, you can even tell me whatever song you want me to cut into.
I have to think about that. Well, maybe like Sunflower or Happier.
Okay.
I think one of those songs, and that actually shows modern band. But for just for ukulele, Girls Like You.
Okay, Girls Like You
would be a good one to show. And I do cut out the Cardi B end of her rap.
Yeah, I
That's
think
a little
we all do.
questionable.
Yeah.
I didn't cut out the whole rap because, but no one's called me yet complaining. So knock on wood. Where's the wood? Okay.
We just had to talk about that with cups the other day.
Yeah.
That's one of the things is I try not to have anything that's foul or filthy or whatever in there. That's hard because so many musicians just throw out a swear word in general, and then sometimes the topics are so bad.
Well, I also encourage it, especially at play-alongs. I try to provide clean cuts or radio edits, because I explain to my students that artists want their music heard, artists want their music purchased. So if they want to have both those of us who can choose what we want to listen to, and then there's the kids side who want to listen to it too, then they'll put out clean radio edits because they want the music played. Because it means more money for them as well. More income.
Yeah.
But so I try to use the clean edits, but if there isn't a clean version available, then I'll edit it and bleep it out, or I'll just slice out a section or whatever it may happen. But with the format that you're asking me about,
like Girls Like You,
like Girls Like You, there's plenty of resources out there available that have the visuals where we can just arrange them, and I arrange mine into pages because I'm a Mac person.
Yep.
Where I get them from is I get them from the littlekidsrock.org website, because it's free. You don't have to be a Little Kids Rock teacher to access the resources or materials, and I know where it is. I know how to use it, and I think it looks nice and clean. But they have this little measure. They have measure. Where it's 4, and you can do it they have 1 blocks, or 2 measures, or 4 measures, and then I just use those and I arrange them. And then after that, I just copy and paste the chords, and then I place them along the timeline of the measures, so that the students know and see that the music keeps on moving. Because I wanted the idea of there's different levels of music literacy. Following chord blocks is music literacy, and then that's to me that's step 1, and then step 2. Well, here's a little more of what it really what real music. I shouldn't say real music, but here's how this tracks. But also, strangely enough, I get students in 6th and 7th grade that they look at the first measure and they're like, "Oh, now what?" And they can't. Either they just forget over the summer, or they're not tracking. Okay, I got the G chord. Now what? No, but you gotta keep going. So it's also helping to train their eyes to keep moving along, and then eventually, once they're comfortable with that, then I can also give them lead sheets where they have the words and just has the chords over the words, and they know what it means. So there's different varying levels of music literacy, but also accessibility, whatever works. With the iconic notation, NAFME recognizes iconic notation, such as chord charts, that they are a type of notation, and it recognizes notation. It doesn't have to be traditional tablature in a sense of reading it along with the 6 lines, and then that's 2, and that's 7, that's 3. It just has a picture of it, and it's given accessibility for the music a lot faster as well. And there's viability for all forms of how it's delivered, but the basic idea of it's being delivered and it's being accessible immediately to the students.
So when those things are from the Kid Rock program?
If you go to For Teachers, I'm pointing it's up here.
That's okay. Well,
if you go to
overlay the image right
place it
there.
up here for me quickly. If you go to for teachers and then you scroll down, I'm like imagining in my mind right now. You scroll down on that list at the bottom it says free resources, and then when the next page comes up, it'll say like teacher zone jam zone, student zone jam zone. Click on the teacher's jam zone area, and then that's going to pull up the teacher manual. It's going to pull up lessons instruction for both ukulele, for guitar, bass, just the whole gamut. Also, some breakdown videos where they take different songs and they break them down to kind of help with the instruction process. There's jam along videos. There's, and then if you keep on scrolling down, they have lesson plans. I'm blanking on the rest of the stuff. There's so much there, lesson plans, but there's also it says build your own charts.
Okay.
Okay, and then when you click on that, it gives you access to several different PowerPoints, ukulele, guitar, bass, keys, drums, and within those PowerPoints are all these little nuggets that you can use to create. So like they have like a page where it's major chords, minor chords.
Okay.
They also have tab where you can pull up, like it has like a tab line, and also has numbers where you can drag and drop if you want. That part might be a little tedious to some, but I use it just so everything looks the same and is cohesive. But of course, you can go into a notation program and tab it out really fast and just snapshot it. But they have all those. They have strumming patterns. You know, in some of my videos it says strumming pattern 1, 2, and 4 and.
Yep.
And I like to put those at the beginning so that people have an idea of how to strum the song. But the number one thing is, if you have to strum in 1 and wait while you adjust your fingers, wait till the chord comes, bam, it doesn't matter. Just
Right.
because it says that's the pattern doesn't mean you have to do that all the time. Just start simple and keep it easy.
Yeah, the one thing that I get back from my videos all the time is like, why don't you do strumming patterns, which I don't do very often. And the whole idea was because my kids were getting caught up in the idea of strumming patterns.
I have to do that,
I've
right?
got to
Yeah.
do this particular, and there's only like 2 or 3 songs that I know of that have a set strumming pattern, and most of them, like for example, is Over the Rainbow. Mm-hmm. We can't on a reentrant tune, the ukulele, you can't even play that pattern right anyway. It requires a linear low G to actually do what is did. So why we get caught up about it, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Riptide. Mm-hmm. Riptide has a very distinct, actually 2 distinct strumming patterns. Yeah, down, down, da 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 down, down, da 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 down, down. Yeah, you know, over and over and over again. So, and then of course the palm muting and stuff too. So
It's just not accessible. It can be eventually, but
Yes.
it's just not immediately accessible.
Yeah, and when you're learning your first 5 chords and they all want to play Riptide, I don't know about your kids,
Oh, yeah,
but
yep.
that's like number 1 song. All of a sudden they're all glued to it.
Yeah.
The other one that's funny is Shake It Off.
Yeah.
They complain about it now. They like kind of like act like they hate Taylor Swift.
Oh, they don't.
And all of a sudden, they're all just, everybody in the
They
room
are
is
closet
jamming
fans.
on, you know, and it's just like, wow.
I have a funny story about that.
Okay,
I want to share it
go
really
for
quick.
it. When you get time.
I was working with a class up at the Rochester School of the Arts in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
Where a very good friend of mine from college is one of the assistant principals. Another good friend is he's also in administration. But they were both music teachers there prior to their admin roles, and they asked me to come in when I was up there for NISMA to work with their class. They just got ukes, and I asked them, well, what do your kids like? Because what my kids like is not what your kids like. And the difference, even by a few miles, it can be significant. Binghamton is 20 miles away, and they're listening to a whole different set of music than what my kids in rural upstate New York are listening to. So I asked them what his kids like, and I came loaded with all these songs of what I thought they would enjoy. And then I found out that they had never touched them before, so I stopped everything, and I wanted to take them through the process of a 1-chord song and a 2-chord song. And they handled that. I'm like, well, let's go into a 3-chord song. Now, I know you may not be so hip to T Swift and this ginormous, he must have been 6'2", 8th grader. He's like, Miss, I like T Swift. I'm done with T Swift. And there he is. My ex-man brought his new girlfriend. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I throw all the John Legend. I throw all the other requests that he had. I'm like, we're doing T Swift today. And at the end of the class, what are they asked to do before we leave? Shake it off.
Yep. Figures.
Or very urban district, and they wanted to play T Swift.
Now, were you using the play along videos at that time too? Okay. Yeah, and it's kind of cool. Now, there's so many other things we can talk about too. So we've got to watch our time because we're going to a session at 1.
That's right.
Which is an hour from right now.
Yes. Okay.
And is that up here? Is that on this fourth floor?
Yeah,
I didn't look to see where it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Not that you care on the podcast, but I'm just worried. I don't want us to be late for that. It's another ukulele session.
Yeah.
We both have our ukes here. What one did you bring with you, by the way?
I brought my electric and my soprano with me.
Okay.
I have two with me.
Oh, you have two?
I do.
Do you have one of those fancy Ohana bags that carries double at a time, or do you have one of
Well, not supposed to, but I make it work.
those? Okay. All right. What's your electric?
Want me to show you?
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
I only brought my outdoor ukulele because I was driving down. I ran out of gas on the way down here. I went into town. I think gives me gas. My car said there was gas.
Here's my McCulloch Bridge.
Yep.
This is kind of my beater uke. It's had some love,
But
but it sounds great.
incredible. I mean, yeah. Loud.
I'm
They're
tuned.
loud
It's
too.
been detuned.
That's what in detuning?
No, I detuned.
Oh, you detuned it. Okay, because I was going, wait a second.
flew.
Yeah.
I flew from New York. And boy, are my arms tired.
That's awful.
But I know it's terrible. But it has like a pretty good punch for a soprano. It's like it cranks.
Yeah, it does.
But it's very portable.
Plastic back and sides,
Yep.
but wood face,
Yep.
wood neck.
Now, I wanted the dolphin bridge because I love dolphins, but they had a shark bridge was close enough. I got
Okay,
this
yeah.
at Ohio 2 years ago.
Okay. OMEA, if you
OMEA,
don't know it, another,
yes.
like we were just talking about, it's like the third largest conference. Oh, check out this thing. Seriously, this is cool. I have not seen one of these.
This is my electric uke.
J&D, where did you get that?
I picked this up at Summer NAMM. I got it from a vendor there, and they're not supposed to sell off the floor, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so
Just
do I delete that?
delete it.
I don't know.
I mean, it was after the NAMM. Yeah,
It was
that's
after
it.
NAMM. They met her outside.
But if you notice, yeah.
It was a
Wink,
large,
wink, nudge,
large
nudge,
truck
yeah.
outside
A
the
little
door.
pass it, okay.
Yeah.
But I was eyeballing, and I had to leave before the show closed, so they were very kind to help me out. And it's an electric uke. It's like right in between a concert and a soprano. It's not quite soprano, not quite concert. The input is here.
Okay.
But what's cool about this is when I'm practicing in my Airbnbs, I'm traveling,
Yeah, hardly anybody hears it.
and even at home, I can practice and like plug into my iPad or my computer, and my kid, they never hear me.
How much did this cost?
This ran me. They cut me a deal, and it was I got this for $129.
That's incredible. And it's J&D.
J&D guitars.
Do you have any information about them or anything? Or
Nope.
Okay. J&D guitars. I'll
It
have to
looks
check that
cool.
out.
Every time I pull it out, and like I tend to pull it at the last minute, everyone's like, "Ooh,
Ooh, yeah.
But I can also like obviously put an effects pedal on this and play a little smoke in the water, and makes a very metal rock sound for ukulele.
And it's different than just an electric ukulele. You know, like an electrified acoustic electric.
Yeah.
It's so different. So I just brought my outdoor ukulele
Yeah.
because as I'm driving through, I mean, literally, it was -2 this morning in Minnesota, and my wife didn't come down with me, and it's going to be 85 here today.
It's
She's not
already
going to talk to
toasty.
me. She's not going to talk to me. It's okay. I
I'm not a
suppose.
summer girl. And
Yesterday was
this is
Valentine's
toasty.
Day, so yeah, I drove down, and that was probably not the wisest decision, but it was cheap. So,
Yeah.
So you brought those two with you, and
Yep.
which one are you going to speak with?
I'm going to speak with probably either. It depends on the room. I think I'm going to be using my Cordoba. I have that back at my Airbnb.
So she brought three
I
ukuleles with her.
brought three. I packed this case fits in my roller suitcase, so I put these two ukes on the plane.
Okay.
I checked them with just stuck them in my suitcase, and I put my Cordoba on my back.
I bought a Ohana Sopranissimo pineapple.
Yeah.
And I brought that here last year, but because we fly Spirit, and Spirit only
Yep.
lets you have the one tiny little bag, so I can almost smuggle that in under a jacket.
Yeah.
So I thankfully didn't have to bring that. And last year I had it tuned to D, because the little strings. And so as I was playing, I was having to transpose everything in my head. And of course, everybody's in C.
Right.
Like all the songs when you're doing these introduction things are all in C. So you've got C, G, and whatever. And I'm having to think, okay, no. If I want to see, that means I have to do this. It was really quite a stretch in my brain. So that was last year. But this year I just brought my big altar
I like it.
tenor. So
do you put the Christmas lights in?
I
the
have
holidays?
done so. Have you
Yeah.
played one of these yet, by chance?
Not-
You should
not-
check it out.
I've tried what is this? I've done a Waterman.
This is the actual outdoor ukulele, and it's basically what I've been told is it's modeled exactly off of a Maya Moe, which is that
That's nice.
really expensive custom ukulele. It's probably out of tune. Probably need to tune it. It's not. It's close.
It's pretty close.
And I've got the Aquila sugar strings on there too, so they squeak a little bit if you play it just right.
Interesting.
And it's got perfect setup. I mean, in terms
So
of
shake it off.
yeah, A minor, C, G. Oh, too funny.
Anyway,
So
that's cool. It sounds nice.
then
Yeah.
my lovely strap with the
Nice.
chord changes. Uke
That's
straps
that's
on
cool.
on Facebook.
Oh, look at that's fancy.
Yeah,
That's
kinda
fancy
cool.
now.
So-
Yeah.
So now your latest videos, I think, last couple
Okay.
have been like this, almost like band
Yeah.
video. Do you want to talk about that a little
Okay,
bit?
sure.
Okay.
Just the same idea that because I do teach modern band as well, that I was trying to look for a way to, at the same time, have something that my guitar players and my bass players and my key players and my drum players and my uke players could all look at the same time. And eventually, I want to say that this is not just the end-all be-all. Eventually, once they're trained through these videos, I'll give them the chart, because
Okay.
now they understand how this works and how this is supposed to be. But on my latest videos, Sunflower and Happier, I think are my two latest videos they've put up. I have a guitar line up top, and I have a bass line. And then I have a uke line, I have a keys line, and at the bottom I have like a basic drum pattern. Sometimes it's exactly what the drum is, and sometimes it's just an approximation.
Okay.
That's something I embrace, is approximation and scaffolding and so on and so forth. But also to the right, I'll put the strum patterns for each. So if guitar is down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, I'll just have that little one measure snippet of down, down, up, down, down, up. And maybe the bass part is 1 and 3. And I'll put that little explanation just right next door. And any kind of information I'll put in the right, but I'll do it in like 4 measure blocks.
Yep.
And then once that, and a lot of these songs are just repeat same chords, but then if there's a new chord progression, then that's a new picture, so to speak. And I've done this a variety of different ways. I use iMovie. I use Pages just to get the arrange and snapshot them. But lately I've been building them in Keynote/PowerPoint and exporting them as JPEGs so that I can highlight exactly what I want to highlight as it goes by. So measure 1 and then measure 2 is a different slide, measure 3 is a different slide, measure 4. But instead of repeating that 85 times, I just copy and paste those JPEGs.
Okay.
And I just copy, paste in iMovie. And then, okay, now I need a new chord progression. So I take those pictures and plop those in. If I have to copy and paste, then I just... And with that being said, in iMovie, let's say you have a 4-chord song like Girls Like You, which is the same 4 chords over and over. I arrange those 4 pictures and time them. And then I copy all 4 of those chord blocks in iMovie. And then as a song plays, I get my Command V ready, because on Mac it's Command V, on
Yep.
PC Control V.
Control C, Control V.
It
Yep.
depends on if you're a PC or Mac. I'm a Mac. But as the song plays, I'm just waiting. Girls, dun, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, paste done. And we can go through it. So literally, I can put in everything arranged and in the right order, everything in as much time as the song happens.
So you're saying, like, you have this master for this verse or whatever, these words, and then you have like 4 measures at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So then you take one picture with the first measure highlighted, then another picture with the second.
Or if I build in a PowerPoint, then each slide I'll say each slide is a measure.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. And I've done it more in PowerPoint lately. This way, previously I've just arranged it in Pages and done a snapshot.
Okay.
The Cap Shift Apple Command.
And then are you
That kinda dates me.
recording the PowerPoint and playing the PowerPoint?
No.
So at some point you're capturing that and dragging it to iMovie.
Yeah, because in PowerPoint or Keynote you can export as JPEGs, and I just drag in those JPEGs
Okay.
as pictures.
That's a totally different approach than what I know that we use with the iPad. I don't know if you've seen the way that we've done it, and the way with LumaFusion, all that stuff is happening at once. Versus building it and then dragging into iMovie. It's all at the same time. It's interesting. We'll have to take a look at that later.
I'm gonna check that out because I haven't heard of them.
I don't know if you've got an iPad or not or anything. So, I mean, both Andy and every now and then, it's so funny. Andy and I are going to get a chance to talk too. I think you ran into Andy earlier
this
today
morning,
too.
Yes, yeah.
Another just wonderful person. It's like, all these technology people you meet are always really nice. And it's really true because, I mean, we're all people that are generally out there sharing. And I think you and I can both talk about this. The amount of money that we've made doing this stuff is pretty much zero. Occasionally you might get an Amazon referral or, and we can't monetize our videos.
Right.
So people are like, you've got a video that's played 100,000 times. Don't you get money for that?
Nope.
Not a cent because...
Like my Million Dreams one, I just checked last night because someone asked for the chords for it. It's like a 99,000 views, I think. But I can't monetize. I can't monetize that.
Yes. Wouldn't that be something if you could?
Right. Seriously.
We'd
I
be
do put
living
on all my
somewhere warm.
right? Yeah. I do put on my videos for educational purposes only,
yes.
and I put description for educational purposes only. I do get a notification every time I post, hey, a copyright claim is made. It's okay, not a big deal, just so you know, because you can't monetize. Okay.
Yeah, but then when you go to actually apply to have your channel monetized, like because I don't have I have like these videos and other things that aren't those, I get told by YouTube, you can't monetize your channel at all. And it's like, well, that's kind of broken. I'm okay not monetizing the play along videos because that's not my material.
If
but
you
when
can
it's
pick and choose what you want to,
Because I mean, it says flat out. In fact, the one I just posted last night, the broken, you get the email that says you can't monetize this. Okay, then you know that. Right. So then don't monetize that one and let me monetize the other ones. And, because you're going to see the ads no matter what.
Right.
And that's the really sad part is where you'll see the ads, but even if it's other stuff, we're not making any money off it. Which is I don't want to complain about it, but just so people are like, I think the same deal.
I think if I do like a separate channel for like a separate account, then if I wanted to do like these kinds of things or personal like videos of like me playing and instructing. Then you could. But just as long as you're not using the audio from
right.
the
And
artist.
even if you're using the material, I'm not sure how that gets in there.
I think you're just teaching the chords and kind of like what Cynthia Lynn does.
Yeah. I don't know. And there's copyright issues there too, which is interesting. I was working on. Do you know the Daily 365? The big yellow book that we say. I was working on, and maybe I'll get back to it, making a recording of each one of those songs, even though I don't know them all. So I was learning as I went. And there's one of these songs I recorded that it's copyrighted, expired a long, long time ago. It was from like 1921, so it was in the public domain. And I published a song, and I got a notification of a copyright infringement it wasn't a penalty. It was, we are attributing your song to this copyright holder. And so I actually debated that one, and I won. Actually, they took it off. It's like, how can you guys? Number one, it's me singing. It's a song that's in public domain. I don't know. Kind of bizarre. So yeah, I was just kind of curious on how your flow of creation went. So you've been working on pages and screenshotting. With your screenshot, do you do like were you working on what was your layout of your page to make it work that would fit?
I usually did it on the landscape view.
Okay.
And then I would zoom out as much as I could, so I could just always snapshot the same amount of screen.
Okay. So
that I think in one of my videos I had some jumping around where I didn't quite match up, and I think I redid it, or maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, we all.
But I'm like, it's just whatever. It's out there, and it happens. It's not a big deal. What's important is the information you're getting, not that it's a little jiggly. But
it would be interesting if you got an email from somebody complaining about it.
Oh, everyone has something to complain about.
Because it's like it doesn't cost you a cent, man. What are you worried about? Back off.
How does the strumming pattern go? I told you in the beginning of the video.
I don't even worry. Like I said, I don't even worry about it. And with my own students, it's like the one thing I want to make sure my own students are doing is that when they're strumming, that they're not stopping.
Yes.
Because they like
they go down, down, up. Now what?
We were doing Aiko the other day. It's a 2-chord song, and it starts or a 3-chord song. And it's like. And they all want to freeze all the time when they're doing that. And that one, when you do one of those syncopated, you have to do it. But they're like, and just it locks everything. The other one I've been noticing so crazy is that my students want to play with this arm that's bent like this.
And mine want to play with it back here.
And it's like they're fighting a pterodactyl. And I'm like, guys, not that I'm the world's greatest ukulele player, but it's like, as I'm playing, what's my wrist doing? They look and they go, oh, it's straight. It's like, so why are you playing like this? And they're like,
Oh, I know exactly why
That's
they're playing
funny.
like that, because they do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But
And
all the time.
then they take that and they're like,
yeah, and
this
then
feels weird.
I can't make that shape, and it's like, no, yes, you
And
can.
what I've been telling them lately is like, don't try to go at it perpendicularly because you can't feel your fingers in. I'm like, give me your middle schoolers. What are all middle schoolers? Okay, I love you, but you're lazy, right? Lazy hand. And I love them, but they're, I guess, elementary, middle, high school, doesn't matter what age, 44, and I'm lazy. Okay,
Yeah.
I just lazy hand, then like, oh, now I can do the G chord. That's easy.
Yeah, I've been coming at an angle lately. You know,
come at it from this way instead of.
How do you put two fingers on the same string if your hand's straight across? And they go, huh? It's like, seriously.
Yeah.
How do you make the G chord if your fingers are? You've got one there? Where
My
does the other one
daughter
go?
does it backwards, like
Some
this.
kids do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, if you can make it work, I'm not going to change it, but it is going to be significantly more difficult.
Yeah. Well, it's.
But going to A minor may be nice and.
You know, and that's where I get in trouble because I like teaching D like G7. You know, with three fingers, with with the first finger up and then the other two around it.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much easier to play than 1, 2, 3 for so many kids. But I let them choose, just like left-handed, right-handed. I let them choose what
I
they
also
want to do.
tell them to put like one of those imaginary cutie orange in their hand, because they like to just.
Oh yeah, grasp the neck. That's an interesting one.
No, I put an orange in here, hold the orange and just keep it, and then
Nice.
then you go.
I was telling them, imagine a hamster's crawling through here on the top.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. we have a hamster at our house now. So your session that you're going to be presenting.
Yes.
What other things you're going to be talking about? Are your resources online anywhere? Other than TMEA or OMEA, do you have a website?
I do have a website.
Okay.
I haven't yet linked my presentations to my website.
Okay.
For a variety of reasons and just time too.
That's okay.
So I'm sorry, what were you asking me?
Just a couple of questions, like what's your presentation?
Oh, okay.
And can people take a look at any part of what you covered online? That's kind of getting to that too. So
I have a link to it, but I don't have it memorized of what my short link is. But
we can add
it's
that
called,
later.
We'll
too.
add it later, okay.
Yeah.
Tech
Flash it on the screen right here.
Go
blink,
here.
blink,
here.
blink. Yeah. If I could ever figure out cards that might appear up there, I think
here.
up there.
Yep.
I don't know.
But my session's called Tech and Uke. The official title, because they actually shortened it. Tech and Uke, you can tech so happy together. Like that, after the
Imagine
you,
me and you and you and me.
Yeah,
Yes,
kind of
exactly.
after
Yeah.
that. I like to find corny titles, just because it sounds more interesting than advanced technique. I can't get into all the fancy schmancy academic language in it. But what I'm doing is, first of all, how do I utilize technology in the classroom? It's not a replacement for a person. It frees me up to move about the class and help my students as they learn and explore the instrument. And the fact that even on something as simple as a one chord song like Lime and the Coconut, which was my first video. C7, all the way. And they know that chord like that now. But that allows me, especially in the beginning,
Something just happened over there.
something very exciting
Somebody
just
scored
happened.
a goal. That's what happened.
But it allows me to go around, and especially in that initial beginning when they're first playing, to make sure they have the correct hand position, so they're not grabbing the uke with the palm of their hand, making sure they've got tall. I tell them like okay fingers or kitty cat fingers, because I say if you show this to someone like, oh yeah, I'm doing okay like this, that's just weird. No one says I'm okay. They say I'm okay.
Yep.
And they understand. And I said, now let's do the middle finger. If this is bad in sign language, I don't know if it is. So if it is, I'm counting.
Well, and then of course there's that game where if they put down, and you look at it. And
Yeah,
the
got him game. I'm like, yeah, I do that.
There's always one of those kids.
This is not
yeah.
got him, right? Yeah.
And all of a sudden you got a kid punching you in class. But
Right.
that's
Yeah. That's our generation
yeah.
is all about the punching, but now means other stuff. But we'll get into that.
Yes.
But that gives me this. But doing the one chord song, I can walk around and make sure that their hand position is correct.
See, I started that this year too, with actually making instructional videos of the chords themselves that I push play, rather than trying to talk them through it. I actually talk them through it on a video, and those are available on my channel too. And I've found that to be incredibly helpful. And then we're on Schoology. I don't know if you have online.
Yeah, we are too.
So what I do is I actually have a folder where I've got every video that we do, and they can go back. So if they don't get it, and you get one of those kids that go, I just don't get it, you get two questions.
Yeah.
Are you trying in class? And almost always the answer is no. Almost always. And the second one is, have you watched any of those videos? And the second answer is always No. Did you
Right.
check out because we got some ukuleles we can check out too.
Yep.
Got them really cheap. They were the Enyas that were $29 a couple of years ago. Unbelievable. They're not that cheap anymore.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, I know what you mean about it. It's forced replication. So if you've got a video going, that allows the kids' attention to be there and for you to be multiplying yourself in the room.
Yes, and it also helps with substitutes as well.
See, I won't let my kids do ukuleles without me there.
My sub was lovely. She's a retired music
That might be okay.
teacher from our department. So I trusted her with doing ukes with my students while I was gone this week for TMEA. Yay!
TMEA,
Yay.
especially with the 85 degrees.
Right. But regardless of what the song is, especially when we venture into G chord, like I use Low Rider from War.
I was going to ask you about that too. Let's
Yeah.
come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the G chord is usually the hardest one to step into because now we're involving 3 fingers. And I take my kids through a process. It's not just all about playing the songs, but I teach them how to do the switches. And I teach them little tricks. I do call the frets, I'll call them boxes at first. Because what's going to happen when you say, okay, put your finger on fret 1, what are they going to do? They're going to put it right on the line.
Yep.
But they understand box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4.
That's really smart.
And they get that. I don't do that all the time. And then once they understand the concept, then I just start throwing the word fret in there, and it doesn't bother them. They make that transition pretty well.
We do the same thing with the colored strings. We have the Achilles colored strings, on all of our ukuleles. So they're green, red, yellow, and blue. That is so much better. They eventually learn what's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
But boy, when you're first starting off and you're not doing a double grid.
Yeah.
So that idea of box is awesome.
And on the War, because the G chord, that's where the hand position goes to hell.
Yep.
For sure. And it allows me, because it's a 1-chord song, I can walk around again and fix their fingers, help them approach it from this direction. That looks weird without the uke in my hand, but from this direction. And but the idea is it's not a replacement for me as a teacher. It's like you said, it's like cloning me.
Yeah.
So they're watching and they're engaged and they're participating, and then it allows me. But then I have my high flyers, and then I'll employ my high flyers, and they'll who get it or have already played and have already learned, and they'll walk around with me and help their friends. And peer-to-peer instruction is also very effective.
It's one of my posters in my room now. On my blog or on my Patreon, one of the rewards is these posters that I created. And one of the posters says, if you've got the skill, help your neighbor. Mm-hmm. And it's so totally true.
I also do like chord switching games where how many clean chord switches can you do in 30 seconds?
Oh, that's pretty good.
And then so that like partner 1 counts while the partner 2 plays, and then you switch. So it's not competitive, but the kids like a little bit of competition. But then
like that.
I might toss out candy for if you get over 60 or something like that. Oh. Some kids are like bam, 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 bam. Faster than me.
I just have trouble buying candy. Not for myself, obviously, but just giving it away, is tough to me.
But it's my candy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Just things like
the chocolate house payments. Who needs those? Like what I tell my kids, like switching from C to G, since that's a typical switch, is I have them put down their C fingers first, and then I call these middle school. I call them bunnies or peace fingers.
Bunny fufu, I've used that term. Yeah.
And then I have them put down the middle finger right next door. So the C's still down, middle finger right next door, and then I have them either touch. I don't want them to look, so I'm like, trust the touch. That sounds really weird, and they giggle. That's the middle schoolers.
Okay.
They giggle at everything. But touch 4, touch 3. Okay, now push, don't look, but push your ring finger up a string to string 2. And then go, and all of a sudden, there's this magical G chord coming from the room, and they're like, oh. And like, don't look. Ring finger goes down a string to the floor. Pick up the bunnies. Okay, now bunnies down. Ring up. I love in college you're playing like on Shake It Off.
Yep.
Okay, and then as you're playing on the C chord, bunnies ring. And then they also go 1, 2, 3, 4, stop, switch. 1, 2, 3,
4, stop.
Bunnies ring. So I call it in time, or if it's less strums, like we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, and C, bunnies ring, and That's where we start. Once a chord, okay? And as they're in the song, four sets later, let's do 2 times. 1, 2, switch, 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 and bunnies ring. And do 3 times. Farther in the song after the my ex-man is new. Okay, let's do 3 times. 1, 2, 3, ring, and 1, 2, 3, bunnies ring up. So then we move it up, and eventually they don't need me anymore.
Do you have a sound system on your that you speak with?
I've got a big mouth.
See, I used to think the same thing. True, but I'll tell you.
But I do have I actually do. I do. Especially when I'm worn down and tired, I do have a microphone.
Okay.
Like a purple microphone that hook on. But I also have a couple mics set up in the auditorium. I generally use the auditorium as my instructional space.
Oh, okay.
Because in my classroom, my personal classroom has our Mac MIDI stations. So there's no space for instruments and sitting and moving to see the board.
Is that a different room than the band room?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And then band is every other day, and when the band director for 7/8 band is in, I can't use the band room during my classes, and there's the same time and there's conflict. So I basically send out the auditorium for the entire year for the 3 periods of classes I have.
Wow.
And then if there's a special or someone's coming in, whatever, then we're back in the room, we do other things. But I do have microphones set up so as I walk around I can just stop at a mic.
Okay.
And also to be heard over the music, because I crank it out there. I also have a portable mic that I sometimes wear, especially when I'm
Feeling down.
feeling run down as well. Yep.
What was I going to say now? Oh, storage. What are you doing for storage of your ukuleles?
They actually store in my classroom, and
Okay.
my wonderful custodians, they're just lovely. They surprised me one day I was at a conference like this, and when I came back, they had taken 1x4s, I think is what it was. And I had a blank wall above my computers in the back corner, like I'm pointing like you can see it. But in one
I don't
of the
have
back
an image of
corners-
that to drop in, by the way. Sorry. But
in the back corner of my room, I had to make blank space. And they took 1x4s and they screwed them in the wall, and then they took little chunks of 1x4 every so often. And then they put hooks here on the 1x4 that's horizontal.
okay.
And then they put a hook on this, so they're staggered. So I get uke, 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 uke.
Okay.
And I can fit 25 ukes on the wall in that back corner.
Which is why they need to walk through the hallway holding them like that
Because
you
we have
do.
to maneuver through the computers
hallway, yeah.
and the hallway to get to the auditorium.
Okay.
And there isn't really, obviously, there isn't much in the hallway, but when we go to the auditorium, there's some railings, and there's a chair rack, and there's other things they can accidentally knock against. I just teach them to hug it and love it and try to, and there's the kids that don't listen, of course, because, well, they're middle schoolers, and we had one catastrophe where he was just carrying it normal. He wasn't swinging it, but it knocked against a railing and it poked a hole in the side of the uke.
Still work?
It still works.
Okay.
It sounds perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Within the context of middle school ukulele.
How long have you had these ukes?
I've had them since the fall of
Oh, Grace Vanderall was
16,
2016.
16, yeah.
Okay.
I got them that November
Okay.
of 16.
All right.
And I
So we
started
started
my
just a
use-
little bit before you did. Not that that's any. There's no award for that or anything.
He wins.
Just kind of yeah.
Where's a trophy? I brought it.
I don't
for
know.
You. I brought the
I think it's an
trophy.
electric uke. No, just kidding.
Ah.
No. I'm just joking. So I was going to ask you, the one song that we had all used for G, the one chord song for G, Low Rider, got
Yes.
blocked.
Really?
Yeah, it's not available to anybody to use.
Huh.
So if you check out your website, like if you check out your YouTube channel, you can't get to yours or Dr. Reese's.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't access my channel that way because I also have my videos downloaded ahead of time.
Yeah,
Like, on my-
and secretly I do that too to everybody's videos that I have them. So actually, if you look in the list, it's still available through my Google link.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, in the list of all the videos that I maintain, you can still get it, but it's not on YouTube anymore. So I was just curious how you were handling that, or how many other videos you've had blocked in the past, or anything.
I wasn't even aware that it had been blocked. I may have gotten an email saying that's so sad, too bad, but I may have just
And people are like, do you get a strike then? It's like, no, you just get a message that says your video is blocked for all countries. I've had a weird one where it was like, your video is not available in like these 6 countries. And it's just like,
that's very specific. That's very specific.
Why does that matter? But I was just curious what you thought of that. So yeah, so if you guys are looking for that war video, the only way to find it is to go to ukestuff.info, go to the play along video list, which is free. That's nothing's
it's awesome.
paid there. And you can find it. We're up to, with the videos yesterday and a couple of the others, we're up close to, we're 780 or so. So that's a lot of music.
It is.
I mean, you can go a couple of years. And there's a few of us that occasionally make a song just for us. Yep. That's a little harder than what you'd use in a school, but that's okay too.
Oh, by the way,
yes.
I just want to say.
Go for it.
I just want to reemphasize, check your songs to make sure that they are school appropriate. Although I did Cake by the Ocean, I didn't really understand or get it. And the song I originally used, I was like, oh, I didn't really listen to that part of the song where there was some bad words. And I do use Kids Bop version sometimes, just so I can get a clean version. Because I don't think there was a clean radio edit version of Cake by the Ocean.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos that just are not, songs. And then there's a few people that make videos of songs. You go, oh, I don't know if I would do that. Yeah.
Oh, we do. We do embrace the, for educational purposes, like rewriting.
Yes.
Not rewriting the whole song, like taking out, like replacing swear words or anything like that with just a small rewrite of the words, so that it might be a totally wonderful, viable song. And there's thousands of songs that have no swear words, which are totally viable as well. But if this is about doing the songs that the kids want to do, and that's appropriate minus a few swear words, we can have them rewrite it. What's the song now about on a cruise with me? Gonna ride me like a cruise, I think is the...
Oof.
Yeah. So like I'm blanking on
Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Yeah. Yikes.
I'm blanking on which song. I want to say maybe it's. Is it Happier? Or is it Sunflower? It is Sunflower.
It is Sunflower that you just did.
Yep, Sunflower. And I still have it in there, but if I were to have my kids perform it, I was like, she's going to take me on a cruise. Like, I would just rewrite it just a little bit to make it still not the meaning that is inferred behind it. So. And
it's not like music has had double meanings for years and years and years. There's no such thing as Italian madrigals, at all.
And there are parents.
Fair Phyllis. I mean, seriously.
I haven't had complaints from kids or parents.
I've been pretty lucky too.
I try to do appropriate songs, but if they're really begging to do a song and it's just a one little moment in time, either we eliminate that portion of the song or we rewrite it, or I'll bleep it out and block it out so that's not heard. Can they go home and look it up and hear yes, but that's not my business of what they do at home.
And let's be honest. If they go on the school bus ride home and they're listening to the pop music, they're listening to worse. Yeah. If they listen to what's on their iPads or on their iPods. If they're using the bus on the way home, they're hearing a lot worse anymore. If they're, that's true too. Yeah. If they're at the school dance,
they're hearing and seeing a lot worse. And seeing a lot worse.
And just like, okay, there's some level of whatever, but I love it because, again, I put this in the middle of my choir year. And so we start off the year with a choir concert. Mm-hmm. We end the year with a choir concert, but in the middle of the year, we have this gap. Instructionally, that was by design a few years ago when they switched us to the middle school model, and then they had the wise idea that you have to be in band, choir, orchestra. And of course, if you're not in band or orchestra, I get all of you in choir. I've talked about this at length before in the podcast and other spots. So I get all those kids who don't really want to be there too. You do too, but in the mindset of everybody's got to do it is a little different thing. I think then, the choir or the orchestra and band kids would not imagine your classes without your orchestra or your orchestra and band kids.
It'd be very different.
Very different layout. And so that whole deal, but the ability to insert some more pop music, you can do some pop music choral, but it's not the same.
Yeah, and I've also used, the chorus teacher and I have taken these popular songs, and we've used ukes with the chorus. We've made rock bands to play along with the chorus, and that's been a very positive reaction along with the community as well.
Yeah, I agree. So so kind of curious about that. So where do we find? Obviously, your channel is
Kris Gilbert.
Kris Gilbert. Is it a youtube.com/Kris Gilbert yet, or is it still a?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
If you just search Kris Gilbert, you'll find
You'll find it, and look up Kris
K-
Gilbert.
KRIS.
KRIS and ukulele, and then if you have a blogger or whatever, you can let me know what that is too.
It's krisgilbert.weebly.com.
That's pretty easy to remember.
Wait, no, Kris Gilbert Music.
Kris Gilbert Music.
KrisGilbertmusic.weebly.com.
I'll put
Yes.
that right
Here,
there. No,
here,
we
Devon.
could try it. I don't. I've never got. Have you ever tried using the cards?
No.
I haven't done that. So maybe they won't appear up there, or I can just edit it in later, and you'll be able to find it there.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other questions or thoughts or anything that you want to talk about? I can show you.
Yeah.
that
What
later.
else are you doing in terms of ukulele instruction with your kids, and how do you approach it? How often do you see them, and how is your setup?
My setup is I see students every other day, 40 minutes a day, and they're divided into different classes. I have 4 sections of 6th grade this year, 4 sections of 7th grade, and 1 section of 8th grade with a total of about 350 students overall that I see in our middle school. And we start ukulele in January, and I've kind of created a method based upon the play-along videos, and then my philosophy is to introduce the chords as they're most used. So it starts off with C and moves to F and moves to G. Now, F is not actually the second most frequently used chord, it's the third. But when you're teaching kids ukulele for the first time, to go from 1 finger to 3 would be a mind meltdown. So I go 1, 2, 3, which makes sense. And then the G7 follows the G, which is also out of sequence. But part of the reason is because I wanted to get them playing the 5 chords in C as soon as I can, including A minor, so we can then get into pop music, because you don't get a whole lot of pop music until you get to really for the A minor.
Yeah.
So much of the pop music uses A minor. There are exceptions, right? But a lot of it is folk, and I just encourage them to hang in there.
Yeah.
I know we're just playing C, F, and G, or C, F, and G7 right now, but just hang in there because we're almost there.
Yeah.
And then the first time we hit, that A minor chord, and then we're into Riptide, they're so happy.
Yeah. And I do similarly, but just a little bit different. I do the C, A minor, and then the F. So they have a 1 finger chord, and I also do C7 as well, but A minor, and they can just add that finger for the F, and that makes that transition from 1 finger to 2 finger pretty easy. That's how my students, and the F to G7, so
is so easy.
Same idea, yeah.
And what I really like about the way that I do it, I'm not saying you're wrong either. I totally get that.
Every student is different.
There are some middle or elementary teachers that only teach these 1 finger chords. So they teach F9 instead of F, and they teach C7 and A minor, and they get all those 1 finger
G6,
chords. A minor 6. No, just kidding. A minor 7. No. But with all that, so that's really the one thing. And then the other thing that I really like that I've been doing is I started last year. There's this guy out in California that created something called Ukulele Boot Camp. And I don't spend a lot of time saying ukulele either. I usually say ukulele, but he actually makes a point of Ukulele Boot Camp. And basically, there are these chord progressions that if you can play through in all these different keys, you basically can play almost anything. Yeah, there might be a chord you have to look up, whatever.
The dreaded E.
Yep, and so I started making some things that I call skill drills that are focused just on changing the chords rather than worrying about a song, and that has been incredibly helpful. So we start off, as soon as we learn a new chord, we play a skill drill with that chord first, so they're not worrying about the words or following the rhythm or strumming patterns.
Yeah.
They're just playing one chord, switching to the next one, chord, and then it speeds up. I think you've seen some of them, but that has been a lifesaver. And it really shows later on. They start really getting it. So I totally, and I stole that idea basically from Ukulele Boot Camp. And actually all those Ukulele Boot Camp, the full things, I talked with that person, and there are play-along videos for those too that are out there. So if you ever want to play those, you can just find them on YouTube as well. There's a separate playlist for those. So other than that, the other thing that I really love, I didn't bring with me, is my Jawum Smart Tuner. I don't teach tuning.
I don't either. For a variety of reasons.
We broke way too many strings and I still get occasionally kids that break strings. Another one of my signs isn't just once you have the skill, help your neighbor. Another one is don't touch the strings, or it says leave the tuning pegs alone and try to do it in a positive sense. Leave the tuning pegs alone, ask for help.
I've numbered my ukes.
I do
so
too,
that if
yes.
second period comes in and they're like, the uke is way out of tune, guess what kid I'm calling down to help me tune ukes the next day?
And by the way, that's what this thing is great for, because this Jawum tuner, there's another one called the Roadie, and I just got a really angry email from their PR person because I had reviewed the two. And I bought the Roadies. One of the Jawum, I bought two, and actually bought 3 Jawums, but 2 were given to me basically free in that process. So I have one myself, and then the school has 4. These things, once you turn them on, if you're within a relative tuning area, you put on any string and play the string, it tunes it for you. And it saves your tuning time. And that doesn't mean that I can't tune by ear. Well, you can, but then I'm never going to be. But I can tune with like an app or with a clip-on tuner. But when I have that thing, I can get through all 70 of our ukuleles much faster. And I could even be holding a conversation.
70.
70. Yeah, I'll show you a picture when we're done here. So we got to double check our time too. We still have
a few
15 minutes.
yeah.
So, and we got to see where that is. That here?
Yeah, it's just down the hall.
Okay, so then we really are okay.
Yeah.
But I guess so that Jawum Smart Tuner really changes in my life too. And then of course the colored strings I highly recommend, and they're super cheap. So I don't know if you got Aquilas on.
I have Aquilas, yeah.
When they're worn out, Aquila will sell these to you at a set of like 20 for like a fraction of what you'd pay for even just regular strings. So it ends up being like $2 a set.
Oh wow, nice.
Which, yeah, and then you've got that benefit of that color, which again, I love the idea of boxes you're talking about. I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, when you're not saying 3rd fret, 1st string,
it's a lot of numbers.
The smoke starts because they can't even draw it on a graph.
Red and green,
Yeah.
yellow.
So you just say blue string, which is
box
A
2
string.
blue,
Yeah.
box 3 green.
Yeah, box 3. Yeah. See, look at that. She's already got it.
it.
So it's So
and also, with the tuning, I can employ a different use. Like, close enough is good enough is what I embrace.
I think we all hit
because
that.
I'll tune one uke like right in the money, and I'll go through I'll just reach in and on ukes in the wall and go bing 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 bing, and anything that's like too far off. I mean, I can almost tune without a tuner now.
Yes, you start
You've heard it so many times.
Yeah, you do.
You can tell it's off a little bit. But and I just go through my wall, and I used to have my home base will bring them up to me and I'll tune it. But I wanted to eliminate the whole jostling around and possibility of knocking the ukes against anything. So I just go down my wall, bing bing bing. Or if I don't have time in the morning, my first period class, I'll go right down the row, and they'll say 4 3 2 1 4 3 2 1. So they're practicing their string numbers.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, gotta catch them all.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go's.
Yeah, seriously, that was the thing that worked.
My son's a Pokemon Go,
Okay,
so I
all right.
know that. Yeah, but they'll go 4 3 2 1 4 3 2 1 4 3, and then if something's like 4 3 2 plank.
Yeah.
Okay, next, and I'm kind of tuning it as I go, and they keep on going. I can get through a class in a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally that fast, and they know the process. But if I have the time in the morning, I'll just go along my wall and bing, 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 and take off the ones that need it. After long breaks, I make sure I go into school a little bit early if I know I'm going to be doing ukes, because, like, especially after winter break, those have they hold pretty close, but the
humidity in
they turn down the
northern
heat.
climate again.
They do turn down the heat a tad, but anyway. But the ukes that are closer to the window, because it's on a corner, those are the ones, strangely enough, that tend to stay the most in tune.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones farther away from the window are the ones that tend to go out of tune. I don't understand
Probably
why.
closer to the heat source, because heat usually goes from the inside out.
Well, but what's weird is our heat is in the opposite corner of the room.
Oh, that's really weird.
So then we have all these big, ginormous, like, 10-foot windows, and then this corner, and the ones by the windows stick, and then the ones that are like just around the corner are the ones I have to.
We got these, so they'll still go out of tune, but with no wood on the neck.
Yeah.
You never have to worry about sharp frets or any sharp frets you have to worry about.
Nope.
So that's pretty lucky too, because usually we in the northern climate have to worry about that. And then I was going to say that Jawum tuner too. When I have a kid that has to come in and do service time tuning ukuleles.
Wait, hold on, thought. I tune exactly for concerts. If there's a concert, I'll get them right on center. I don't just do close enough. It's good enough for the concert.
Yes.
Concerts, I'm like, oh no, we're going to be right on my. Anyways, go
No,
on.
but I was just saying that Jawum tuner,
tuner.
then, if I have a kid that's been naughty and therefore they have to serve tardiness or they've been messing around the uke, they can actually tune every ukulele without any like instruction at all. I can just turn them loose and they do it. Lefties, righties, it doesn't matter because they can put it on any string as long as they're playing the right color, which is really hard to mess up when you're looking at, it's red here, well, I better play the red string there,
Yeah.
And I can let even some of these, and then the worst one is, or the best, is I actually have these kids that have been like naughty in class, usually they're disengaged, that's why they're there.
Yeah.
Suddenly they want to come back and tune again because they had so much fun tuning it with this tuner.
They're so enthralled with it. Like, what is doing it?
Seriously, they love it. It's like, no, you're not supposed to enjoy this. This is a punishment.
They
You are
even
supposed
enjoy
to-
the little clip on. Just there it's green. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
They
It's crazy.
just kick out of it.
So anyway, we will hopefully talk again in
Yes,
the future.
for sure.
We were going to do this earlier in the year, and we were trying to figure out how we could do it over, I don't know,
Skype
Skype or
yeah.
whatever, or Google Hangouts because we
Yeah.
wanted, to do in person. And it'd be really fun to actually interview. Well, we're just chatting, but with like all the people that are making these videos.
Yeah.
Especially I'd love to get Dr. Reese someday
Yep.
since she created this movement.
She is my ukulele goddess. I'm gonna say.
And you've met her a
I
number
have,
of times,
yes,
right?
yes.
So I haven't. We've just communicated from time to time. So, yeah, we've got a ukulele session to get to. So,
Yep.
thanks, Kris, for
right,
coming on.
thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yep, and thank you everybody for listening / watching. And again, KrisGilbertMusic.com.
Yes.
Right.
No, KrisGilbertMusic.weebly.com.
Weebly.com, ukestuff.info. Look for Kris Gilbert on YouTube and Ukulele Tenor on YouTube. All right, we'll see you
Right on.
later. Bye.
Bye.